Brooks Broadcasting Studio 24 in California, the entertainment capital of the world, featuring Dr. Dwight Rogers and Tony G. It's the Education Talk Show with Jeremy Brooks, Weekly Recess. And now, your host, Jeremy Brooks.
The Education Talk Show with Jeremy Brooks, Weekly Recess. We have an incredible show for you tonight. We are so excited to have Tammy Dunbar in the studio with us. Tammy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Now, Tammy has been on our show before. She was on one of our other shows, and our episode just did incredible where we had Tammy. But just a little bit about her. Tammy is a Fulbright Scholar. She is a retired teacher, but she's working still, very busy. She has done keynotes all over the country. She was also named Woman of the Year, but also one of our nation's top teachers. So we're just super excited and thrilled to have her on the show. And again, Tammy, and we'll get to, we got, of course, Dr. Rogers on the show. We'll just mention.
Good evening, everyone.
He's our resident scholar. He's amazing. Our education contributor. And then we've got Tony G, our resident
everybody.
comedian.
Good to see you. It's just my chai tea. It's
Nice.
By the way, together, both of them are like the ultimate PLC. Somehow, we're leading and learning and having an amazing show. So we're so grateful. And I can't wait to check in with you guys.
Absolutely.
To see what you've been up to this week because you're doing some crazy, cool stuff. And I know you just got here. You're on the road. You're doing neat stuff, too. But I want to just check in real quick with Tammy, too, about, what have you been up to lately since you were last on the show?
Oh, gosh. So you want me to talk about that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I left education, and because it was time, I thought, and my husband and I said, let's travel. And then we started getting involved in politics. And next thing I know, I am a part-time staff assistant to Congressman Adam Gray in California's 13th district. So, it's really interesting because he's one of the policies, or not policies, but one of the programs he's put me in charge of is education, oddly. And it turns out I get to educate him on Teams.
Wow.
Our favorite Manteca Unified School District tool.
Yeah. And so a lot of great stuff there. And of course, you're really big in technology. You still are, of course. You do lots of training, and I remember just this list of certifications that you have too. And so, maybe we'll get to talk about technology a little bit too on the show today. We'll see.
I'm sure AI will come up.
Yeah,
I know, right? Looking forward to it.
All right, and then Dr. Rogers, you just, got here, right? You just walked right in the studio right on time. You've been busy. Can you tell us a little about what you've been up to?
Absolutely. Right now, I'm in San Francisco at the AXA Leading Out Loud, conference, and it's a conference that we are very much excited about because we are giving tools to educators on how to lead loudly. Now, when I say loudly, sometimes it's misinterpreted, right, as being angry, upset, or whatever the case may be. But leading loudly can also mean leading with purpose and pride and intent, and teaching people how to understand that it's okay to be proud about the work that you're doing. And so that's what we're doing over in San Francisco right now. So I left there, came here, and I'm going right back to San Francisco after I'm done.
And I love it. And I saw you're doing some stuff on your book there too,
Absolutely.
Getting to share your book with people.
Right. So the first day AXA was kind enough to allow a lot of first-time authors and returning authors to showcase their books. So they gave us a platform that we can have our books highlighted and gave us an opportunity to meet other folks and just interface and networking, because your net worth is what your network is about. So you have to go out there and connect with people and just show people what you have and who you are. And again, your lived experience to talk about it. So I'm very excited about that.
I can't wait to hear more. And on top of this, Dr. Rogers just published an article like days ago, like just a few days ago. And so I said, you know what? Let's talk about that. So it's on parent engagement. We're going to talk about that too. That's one of our segments. So I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Right. It's a little busy. No, you know what? But it's been a beautiful blessing. This journey that we're taking is just is wonderful. And this man right here is a large part of that. So again, Jeremy, I appreciate all the confidence that you've given me and the platform to do this work. So thank you.
Well, thank you, and it means a lot. Of course, I look up to you, the admin of the year here. Wow. So very
She's
cool.
the woman of the year. Come on now.
Yeah,
I'm regional.
Hey, what a panel we have, and of course we've got Tony G in the house, and you've done some cool stuff this week too.
Yes. Yes. I wore this shirt.
It's outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, let's just say, what it's all about. WrestleMania, Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior. We were just talking about this before we started, me and Kofi. Mm-hmm. You had the immovable object versus the unstoppable force.
Yes.
And as a kid, I mean, I'm nostalgic, okay? As a kid, I remember the Ultimate Warrior just pressing and dropping them on the mat, and we didn't know who was going to win, right?
Who won?
Well, who ended up winning was the Ultimate Warrior.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Only he really struggled with communication and talking in the promos. Oddly enough, we're going to talk a little bit about this.
Right.
Hello,
Yes.
with teachers.
Yeah.
Because you got it, because, Hulkster would be like, let me tell you something, brother. I'm going to tell you something. It's all about the prayers, the training, the vitamins, dude. He would go in there, right? And then the Warrior would just kind of, and it was great for theater,
Right.
but horrible for communication.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm excited about tonight and what we're talking about.
Well, I'm excited too. Did you saw the match?
Absolutely.
Did you see it? Did you see the match?
No.
No. Yeah. Well, and who were you rooting for, by the way?
Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior was just that guy, because again, silent but deadly.
But the muscles.
But the muscles, right?
I'm
But-
trying.
15-inch pythons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the Warrior was probably 20,
Wow.
at least 23.
Yeah. Because
Hulkster was 24.
Yeah.
But there was, if we're honest, there's a little bit of fat around.
Right.
Or maybe a lot of fat.
Right.
Yeah.
That was water weight.
But either way, let's put it this way. They get their arm around us, we're in trouble.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's still a python.
Right.
Yeah, for real, right? All right. Well, we got a great show coming up, and something interesting actually happened in Massachusetts. There was a vote, 155-0, completely unanimous decision regarding literacy, early literacy, that they were voting on. Lawmakers passed a huge reading reform bill. And again, that's right. They all agreed. And I think the last time, we had a unanimous agreement was on everyone agreeing that the only time the printer jams up is just before you head into your classroom, right? So, supporters say that it'll help kids. But what's interesting is there's another side to it. Educators seem to be opposed to it. We will explore that on the show and learn why. Personally, though, I feel like I just want to see some kind of policy or reform when it comes to reading, where students fall in love with reading before falling in love with TikTok videos. That would be nice, right? But we're tackling also family engagement. We mentioned Dr. Rogers wrote that amazing article, and they're doing incredible things in his district. And so we'll get to talk about how parents actually, our educators' parents, are having a seat at the same table.
Right.
And so that's incredible, and we'll discuss that. And then also, we're going to tackle the legendary Volun-told problem. Volun-told, you guys know what I'm talking about there?
Absolutely.
Yep.
We all have experienced that, right? And somehow, when you're being voluntold or asked about something, sometimes our hand just sort of creeps up and we participate right? But sometimes that can be a challenge, so we'll discuss that. And then the last thing is a teacher classic. We're going to be going over grading, because grading, that's this time of year right now. We got grading going on, and progress reports coming out, so we'll discuss that. And so stick around. We've got laughter. We've got insights. We've got a whole lot more, and it's all happening right here on the Education Talk Show with Jeremy Brooks. Weekly recess. The bell's about to ring, so stick with us. All right. So first topic here, our headline this week, again, it comes from Massachusetts. And it's where, again, there's this early literacy bill that was passed, and there's overwhelming support, 155 votes to 0 in the House. Now, again, you'd think that this is the kind of consensus that means that it's going to be smooth sailing, but that's not the case. The state's biggest teachers union says that the plan could actually make teaching harder, and we'll, again, discuss that. Here's what's going on. The proposal would require schools to use research-based best practices for early literacy in reading. It would emphasize phonics, fluency, and comprehension. We're glad we have you on the show today because you taught 5th grade, I think.
I did.
Right? And some early grades too, so that'll be great. And so it also provide online training and free resources for teachers. Supporters believe this could fix language learning gaps and reading performance since the pandemic, but many educators argue it's too rigid. And so that could give the state too much control and leaves little room for professional judgment in helping diverse learners in different ways. So tonight we're diving into this topic. We're going to start right over here with Tammy. Tammy, we'll go ahead and crack this story open. Again, some educators worry that focusing too narrowly on certain early literacy skills could maybe, not serve students as well. I mean, did you use some of these early learning strategies? And did you always teach 5th grade, by the way?
I taught kindergarten, my very first year of teaching.
Okay, all right.
Bodily fluids. Yeah, 5th grade.
Yeah.
Because it's American history. But all educators worry about, kids reading. Are phonics important? Of course they're important.
Yeah.
Phonics, phonemics, all of that's important. But not every learner at every grade level needs it.
Right.
Right? Our job, our calling is to reach out to every student and to assess and to determine, what do you need?
Right.
We're supposed to differentiate. That's what we're called to do. Why else do we have the assessments, right? We're supposed to use those tools to take a look and say, okay, you need phonics. Let's get you doing something else. You could start writing and having other people read your writing, right? So that's part of our job. And by the way, they don't need to always read chapter books. If they get into anime graphic novels, then let's get some access to those in the library.
Such a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
And if they really want to read something above their Lexile, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen teachers say, that's not in your Lexile range.
Right.
If they want to read something higher and that interests them, let them at it. And if it's a video game guide, and those are written 9th, 10th grade level, and if they're trying to get by that big bad boss, give them the game guide. They'll start reading. This is how our son started reading. And suddenly he's past the boss and he's like, oh, I want to read Harry Potter. Amen. So, yeah.
That is truly differentiation right there, right? I mean, wow. And go ahead. Yeah.
You made some great points, and my brain is going all over the place with this. So who do you think is the biggest issue when it comes to creating these, I guess, when we're looking at solutions? Who do you think are the biggest issues? 'Cause I'm listening to you, and in my head, I can answer that, but I want to hear from you. Who do you think is what's the biggest obstacle?
I'm just trying to think how to say it politely. Because I'm from a teacher perspective, and every 5 to 7 years in Manteca Unified, we get a new curriculum, and every time they'd say, oh, this is science-based. This is, this is the science of reading. Their grades are going to go up. Their scores are going to go up. And it's the publishing houses that do the curriculum, that do the tests.
Right.
It's a moneymaker.
Absolutely.
And it feels to us in the classroom that, okay, well, this is just repackaged.
Right.
I know the standards. I know. What I need to know is, what does he need to succeed? What do you need to succeed? What do they need to succeed? I mean, maybe teachers should be the ones educating and having a seat at the table.
So we appreciate the publishers, but sometimes the publishers, right, who are selling things can, oversell. Is that what it sounds like?
Absolutely. I think just to your point, you have people who have their vested interest in making their money, and we always talk about we put students and families first. But is that really putting students and families first, or is it the whole thing of, well, we want to make sure that we're making money. We want to be able to make sure we're making a profit at the student's expense. Because who's on that board, on that discussion table when it comes to putting that in there and creating those programs? You're looking at differentiation of tasks. Okay, well, a teacher knows what can go on in the classroom. If we're asking a teacher to do that, on top of the mental health services, the MTSS models, and all those other things, where a teacher can just teach and be able to scaffold the work out throughout the year, but we're tacking on so many other things that it just makes teaching very hard.
And I want to get you in here on this, but I wanted to just ask you one quick question too. Have you, I mean, you've been all over the country, you've been all over the world, really. So have you, by the way, looking at different schools. Have you seen any reading programs out there that really have transformed a school or made a huge difference for a grade?
You know,
and Phil, anybody jump in on this too.
I think you can use one program, but it's the people behind it that does the work. You know, if you have a culture and a community and a mindset that says this is how we're going to do it, and we have a consensus that this is what we're going to do, it'll work. When you go to other countries, they decide on this is how it's going to happen, and then they push forward with it. But here in America, with capitalism, we have everybody bidding for the next contract, so we keep switching up. Leadership changes at the top, so does the curriculum.
That's a big challenge too.
Problem. But when you go to other countries, you don't have these issues because they agree that this is the way we're going to do it, and no one's going to fight it because, again, culturally, they've all accepted that that's how it's going to be.
One of the big things you just touched up on something. I mean, you know, we love our superintendents; they do an incredible job, but that's one of the challenges too. Is at the top we see a lot of turnover, not just with superintendents, city managers, other positions, high profile, you know, leaders. We see I mean, sometimes it's a matter of just a few months or even 6 months, less than a year. If we see somebody in one of those positions that sticks around for more than 3 years, they're a veteran. I mean, they're like, that's like, wow. But, you know, every time we have that change, we have new initiatives that kind of new priorities. Yeah. So good points over here too.
It's frustrating because you can standardize education, but the problem is you can't standardize learning.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, that's the big frustration in the classroom. I differentiate. I go to all the classes. I was Nickelby, No Child Left Behind, certified, all the hoops we jumped through, all the training, RECA, all the testing.
And I wanted to get over here to you. A lot of great points. Social emotional learning too. I mean, we talked about MTSS, multi-tiered systems of support. There's so many factors, right, to take a look at. But social emotional learning, you know, how does that intersect with literacy? I mean, do we need to rethink how we are building confidence with our readers too, our young readers? What do you think?
Well, I had like 6 or 7 points.
Yeah,
I was listening.
Jump in.
No, because this is great stuff we're all talking about, because it's also from top to the bottom, and it's that budget. It's that budget that always affects the direction. And I love what Kofi's saying. Where's that consensus, continuous, this is what we're believing in, this is what we're going to do, right? That's where you want to have that commitment from a district. And every district's got different challenges, let's face it. You know, some have a bigger budget. You know, but, you know, it's just, again, these are great points. I feel like these are things that need to be discussed at a louder capacity, all, you know, through the state, right? And then you want to talk about social emotional. Well, that's a whole nother just can of worms you could open up. Because you get into the IEPs, you get into just differentiation and what kids need versus what does general education need. And I've seen the biggest problem with all that is that you run into a lot of just red tape. And I like to empower the teachers. I like the way you talk. You'd be a great principal because I feel it.
Get you out of retirement.
Hey, you know what?
Always a princess, never a queen.
I'm telling you, man.
Never a queen.
The teachers should be voting on these things in detail. I believe at every district.
Yeah.
Because what happens is you get this direction of what to do, whether it be reading or anything else, math. I don't even want to talk about math, but reading. And you're trying to make it work, but then the gears are always switching.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to balance out, how do I do it? And then throw in the IEPs and their specific accommodations.
Yeah. Well, you brought up a really important point too. You talked about things are always switching, right? Consistency. Now, this is certainly true too. This isn't just, in K-12, but even in higher ed, what we see is there's a lot of fads. There's a lot of, and what we see is that it really takes time to implement something, to roll it out. It takes a number of years before we see the real efficacy of it. And so it doesn't matter whether it's PBIS, positive behavior interventions and supports, it doesn't matter whether it's a literacy program, whatever it is, you got to stick with it. The PLCs, professional learning communities, you got to stick with that process. And the key thing is to let it play out over years. But if we are just sort of like, okay, we're going to try this for a year or 2 years, and then, okay, well, these vendors are telling us this is the next greatest thing. Right. This is the next magic bullet. Let's grab that and try it. I mean, it's not going to work.
Right. So, Jeremy, what you just said, the next best thing, a new building, solar powered. You've never seen a new building raise test scores.
Yeah.
We've never seen, any type of tool do it on its own. What do you see that does? Like, what makes things move? People.
Yep.
People.
Yep.
The heart of the instructor, the heart of the teacher, looking that child in the face and says, I believe in you.
Yeah.
Says you can do it. Building that culture in that community, in that school, creates that movement. So if you invest in those teachers, if you invest in that community, then you'll get the results instead of investing in the new thing. But the problem is that outside vendors don't get money from that.
Well,
Exactly
John Hattie effect size. We hear a lot about that. That research, and it's sure. Engagement is amazing. It can make a huge difference in terms of learning. And John Hattie's effect size research is definitely valid. But one of the biggest things, really the biggest factors, is as Dr. Rogers was just talking about. It's the teacher. That's the number one thing that research shows. Students can learn multiple grade levels ahead in just the span of a year if paired with the right teacher, right? And so that's really the biggest thing that matters is the people.
Right. Tammy made another point that I really liked. When you said your son would read the gaming instruction. Look at literacy with ELL students. You say, okay, well, they understand it. It's just in their language, but it's still competency. They still understand it. So when you look at literacy across the board, if you give students content that's culturally specific or culturally relevant to them, then the interest is there. So giving teachers the permission and understanding to remove barriers so they can read whatever they want to. And give them that freedom to do that.
Yeah. And then before we wrap up this segment too, and I want to talk about your article.
Okay.
Before we talk about that, I just wanted to ask you, you've got amazing years of experience working as an elementary educator. Is there an approach, if you had to pick one, maybe you can't pick one, right? But is there any recommendations for our elementary educators out there?
I was looking at that question and I was trying to figure, if I could do something from scratch. The basics are the basics. When I was in grade school, I'll talk about what year that was. When I was in grade school, the books we had were written as though they were like cute would be K-U, T. It was just weird phonetic spelling. So I'd be reading and my parents were like, oh, you can read. I'm like, I'm reading this weird chicken scratching stuff. But the first thing for me it'd be 3 C's. It'd be comprehension. And I'm talking about the kind of comprehension. I love directed readings where teachers read out loud. I love students reading out loud where we, read a little bit and then say, okay, what just happened? What do you think is going to happen next? Having that conversation for comprehension. Choice, what you were just talking about, allowing students to choose what they want to read. They have to read some standardized things, but they have to have choice so they can have some joy. And then connections. Right? Connections to the story, connections to each other, connections to the teacher, what you were talking to. Because data informs, but relationships transform.
Absolutely.
So 3 C's: choice, comprehension
and
connection.
Right.
I'm going to steal that.
You heard the last thing she said, right?
What was the last thing?
The last thing?
Oh, that data informs, but relationships transform.
Oh, yes. So true. So true.
It's all about relationships. I'm going to keep coming back, and I'm sure you gentlemen will too, because that's what it's about.
Absolutely. And we keep spinning our wheels to go around it when that's the truth right there in front of us. So we should just lean into it.
All right. It's interesting. It's a tough thing. I don't know if we're going to settle, the science of reading tonight. We will continue to discuss it. The reading conversation, I think it's going to be going on for decades. Phonics, whole language, balanced literacy, but we'll continue the debate later. But I wanted to go ahead and talk about this incredible article that Dr. Rogers wrote. If you have not read the article, go read the article. Leadership Magazine.
Yes.
And it's the November-December edition.
That's correct.
And
I heard that's for the most handsome gentleman's month. I'm just saying that's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't say that.
I heard it. I didn't say it either, but I heard it. So there you go.
It's called, oh my goodness.
Cultivating.
The collective voices.
There
Yes.
you go.
So we looking at our family engagement pieces and asking ourselves, do we give parents a seat at the table, or do we just sit at the table that they're already at? Parents have more information than we give them credit for oftentimes. And so when we go into their spaces and we become guests in their spaces, then it gives them the permission and the autonomy to run their own programs, and we support them versus them coming into what we already have framed. And so at our district, we have an opportunity to have different parent advisory committees that offer them that opportunity. And when you have that, again, parents become ambassadors and the greatest advocates for their students, and they model exactly what could be and can be, and it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Oh, that's incredible. And you talked about, building structures like those parent advisory committees and family engagement specialists. Any advice for districts that are looking to try to model, after your district and try to implement those parent advisory committees? And by the way, just a little bit of context, you are in one of the largest districts in the state of California,
Right.
very diverse district,
Right.
serves a lot of students. How many students are in your district?
I think that 34 or 39 at this point, 39,000 at
Yeah.
this point. I know we have a declining enrollment, but it's still about 40, 45.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
I haven't been there to count the numbers or whatever recently, but about 45.
And so, advice for districts looking to try to create those parent advisory committees. And what does that mean, by the way? What do they get to do? And can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So parents come in and then they want to know exactly how schools are run. They want to know what's going into their students' day, and then how can they be more involved in creating atmospheres for their students to grow and thrive. So we try to provide them with opportunities for them to grow in their own way, by understanding A through G requirements, understanding the basic opportunities in the school system, and just what opportunities happen depending upon the grade level of their student. So, for example, if a student's getting ready to graduate from high school, well, what are the opportunities and what are the steps that it takes for that? You'd be surprised how many parents don't know, what they have to do to go into college or trade school, or what happens after high school. Even early literacy, like we were just speaking about, what programs or what opportunities are there to help them read with their students. Back in the day growing up for me, I had my parents, fortunately, that would read to me at night. Yeah. And they would sit by my bed, they would read these stories, the stories or whatever, that I liked or didn't like, but they were going to read to me. And that gave me some memorization and understanding how to pronounce words, how words sounded, and all of those things. So just giving parents some tools, and just reminding them on what would be effective that they can use at home and that can transfer back to school when they get back. So we have family engagement specialists who would support these parent groups. So we have different groups. We have, for example, a Latino Parent Advisory Committee, an African American Black Parent Advisory Committee, and then a general one where everyone could be a part of that. But growing, looking at our population, asking, can we look at Asian American population and whoever else, whatever we have demographics that we have in the district, and providing them with the supports they need so their voices can be heard, so they can be uplifted, so they can have a space that their affinity group can be validated and they can feel good about it. So think about when you go into a space and you see people like yourself, you feel comfortable. But then when you go into a space where you're the only one, it's a little awkward sometimes.
Yeah.
But giving them that space and that freedom to have that it's just an opportunity to have them show up as their best self.
Wow, that's amazing. And again, hats off to your district doing amazing work.
Yes, yes.
And again, the article is titled, one more time, Cultivating Collective Voices.
Yes.
And it's in Leadership Magazine.
Leadership Magazine for November, December. Go pick it up through AXA.
Yes. Make sure to read it. Make sure to share it as well. And again, congratulations on that. That's huge. Second article in Leadership Magazine.
Wow.
Right. Now, again, a story. I know we've told this story before, but Jeremy and I, we've known each other for a little over a year.
Uh-huh.
And
Maybe a couple years now.
a couple of years now.
Yeah.
But a couple of years now. But 3 or 4 years ago, we wrote an article in the same Leadership Magazine, and it was about different, same topic matter, but we didn't know each other at the time.
I think it was on attendance.
And attendance, right?
Yeah.
And we both wrote in the same month, right? And so here it is, fast forward, we're sitting here together.
Yeah. It's wild. It really
You
is.
guys just become best friends.
I tell people he's my bestie.
Yeah.
Both of you, my bestie.
Oh.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And what's crazy is, so he was living in Southern California at the time.
Right.
I was in Northern California. Again, we didn't know each other. And I don't know how it happened. I think, so I was the president before of this organization, and somebody said, you got to meet Dr. Rogers. And so, I was trying to recruit you to our board.
Right.
But then somehow later on, I don't know, a year later,
He quit. He left us.
But I was looking through the magazine, though. I'm looking through it, and I'm like, wait a minute. We were both in this. It was wild.
Oh, wow.
So pretty
It was
cool.
just meant to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and that's how life is sometimes. Sometimes life just, affords you opportunities where you just intersect with those people you're meant to intersect with.
Yeah.
So like you're here today.
Oh.
And I got this shirt from my cousin Jared in Santa Rosa, who we reconnected with, and we went out and we were having fun. And he was in a good mood, so look at that.
Wow.
Look at that.
Very cool.
We connected.
Uh-huh.
I got the WrestleMania shirt.
Nice.
Very cool.
I love that.
We got to get back to connecting. Jeremy, you have something to say.
Uh-huh.
I'm like trying to take over the show.
No,
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, actually, I wanted to tell you, you know what that shirt reminds me of? I don't know if you guys have seen these shirts called the Roosevelts. Have you seen those shirts at all?
No, not
No,
yet.
they're very cool patterns like that, cool graphic patterns. And I ended up running into, in New York just a couple weeks ago, somebody who's sponsored by the Roosevelts, and he's got his own show, and he's somebody that I look up to, and his name is Nate, and he's got a show called Paging Mr. Morrow, and it was wild too, this story. We're walking in New York near Times Square, and I just look, and I'm seeing him like across the street walking, and I'm like, we follow him. That's Nate. And so we call him over, talk to him, but he's sponsored by that company,
Really?
the Roosevelts, and they do really cool shirts. So
Nice.
that was pretty crazy talking to him.
Well,
like
speaking
that.
of cool shirts,
Yeah.
again, I love that shirt you wearing, Jeremy.
Yeah.
How
Hey.
much does that cost, Jeremy?
Where can you get it? Where can you get that
Well,
shirt?
by the
I
way,
wore it at the gym, Jeremy, and let me just say, it was just so relaxing.
oh, well, they are comfortable, and people keep commenting. Tonight, someone said, hey, got this shirt, very comfortable. It's shopedtalk.com. And I know we got codes. We could for coupons. We keep talking about coupon
Remember that
codes.
coupon. You can type in KOFI 823. When you type that in the discount code bar, it'll come up and you won't get anything. But you can still type it in there.
Oh, there you go. Well, we will, and we can't actually set codes up for you guys, so we'll release a code to try
No,
to
I
get you
fall
guys a
asleep in your
discount.
hoodies, guys. I had one
Fall
the other day.
asleep in 'em.
I had my hot turmeric honey chai tea and listened to a little
That sounds
jazz.
delicious,
and
actually.
I just crashed.
That sounds pretty good.
Oh, it's great. It's
Uh-huh.
great.
I'm about to try that.
I gotta wear mine next week.
There we go. That's cool. That's awesome. And we're always updating it and getting new merch. So people, the whole merch thing, by the way,
Merch.
it all started. and I got to pick up the lingo
He's
too.
a pro.
'Cause-
No.
Well, what's
I got
funny
mine on the
though,
way.
what's funny is I've had people, they come up to me, when are you going to sell merch? When are you, and I'm like, eventually we'll get there. And then, when are you going to do it? And finally we gave in and threw in the towel, but it's a lot of fun. I wanted to go over here to Tammy real quick. Again, you've worked with educators, families around the world. I mean, California, all the way to you've been in India too.
Ooh.
You've even taught in India as a Fulbright scholar. I mean, any family engagement strategies that you could think of that you might want to share?
Well, it's interesting because you would think there would be a lot of differences, but all around the world, families want the same thing,
Right.
right? They want their kids to have a better life than they did. They want them to get a good education. And so the first thing for me with families is listening.
Right.
I always lecture my students, you got 2 eyes, 2 ears, and one mouth.
Mhm.
And then it's like, and even at it's taken me this long in my life to go, oh, I need to listen more. And it's so vital because when you close this, you hear what's being said and you can understand what the needs are for families. So empathy, respect, relationships,
Right.
always. But I mean, what I like to do at the beginning of the year is in the first couple of weeks, I make a phone call home. Now we know.
We talked about that.
We know you see the school phone number and they don't pick it up. Sometimes I called from my Google Voice number just to throw them off if they wouldn't answer from the school phone. But you call home and you say something positive. Oh my gosh, your student helped this kid today who was just so down and was crying, and he's the one who went over and befriended him. Or, oh my gosh, thank you so much. You sent treats for the class, or whatever. There's got to be a thank you. There's got to be positivity. And that kind of relationship building is really, really good. And I know later on we're going to talk a little bit more about, technology and families, but there are so many ways that you can reach out.
Well, and even right now, too, like one of the biggest things that I always admire about our elementary educators is, and you guys, I'm sure, all agree with me on this. Elementary educators have this down. There's certain apps like Parent Remind or Remind. Yeah, so many different
It says
ones.
right here, Remind.
Yeah.
Oh
and-
no, Remind's awesome because everybody loves to use text messaging,
Right.
but nobody wants to give out their personal cell. I get that. But Remind, they sign up with their personal cell, and I triangulate, so it's not my cell, it's my Google Voice number. But they've got the app on their phone. I can blast out an announcement and say, don't forget, we're going to, the museum next week. Turn in the permission slips, and it goes right to their phone, ding, and it's there. I would use PowerPoint and make cute little posters. I would post homework so they knew what was due and when it was due. They could text me privately, which was nice, not each other. This is what I like about Remind. They can't text each other, but they can text me, oh, she's got a sore throat. Is it okay if she sucks on a coffee? Yeah, of course it's okay. So it's having in multiple ways of communicating. So a Google Voice number, some of them didn't want Remind. They used the Google Voice number to text me or to call me, or on Teams, because our district is really big on Teams. And so they could message me on there or talk to me there. Of course, district email. And so just multiple ways. And then you have to be really mindful, listening to within reason, and not after 10 o'clock, but checking your messages and getting back in a timely fashion when they reach out to you for something. So it's a two-way street. And once you establish all these different ways of communicating with them, and here's the other thing I do. I think it's about the second week of school, I have a parent-teacher night, not in person, online.
Oh, wow.
And I show them, I share screen, and I show them, here's how you get into Remind. Here's how you download the app. Here's how we're going to use it.
What a good idea.
If you need me for this, here's how you do that, and show them everything. And when we were online academy, it was, here's your student's curriculum. Here's how you log in as a parent so you can track their progress.
Did you have good attendance?
Yes.
Wow. Now you see why she won all those accolades.
Exactly, right?
Because, now I will say to this, I'm going to say one. You are not the norm. And I wish you was. I wish you was, because what you have just described is you have used technology as a form of communication instead of a barrier. You've allowed access. You've created an open space. When you make that initial phone call, sometimes you can even do an inquiry. Hey, I just want to introduce myself. Does your student have any allergies? What colors do they like? And so when you want to give a token or a gift, now you have some background about that student. So when you have that first initial phone call, again, building those relationships. But she just described in 5 minutes what many educators don't do their whole career.
Yeah.
But you were speaking to that. It was leading loudly. Wasn't that the term?
And so I love that about you. Thank you
And
for
a
that.
lot of young teachers don't have that confidence.
They don't have that exactly. So
right?
we have to have these mentors that show them that.
Yes.
But then we struggle with some that don't want to do that. You know, and let's be honest. We have some educators that don't want to do that. It's like that's too much work. I don't want to make that phone call home.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit there and do the app. I don't want to do that. I don't know how to use the app. You know, so we have all of these different layers. So you are an excellent example of how to lead loudly. So thank you for that.
Well, and she's also, I mean, she's done keynotes at large conferences. And so, I mean, you know, we're very thankful that you're still,
CTA.
Yeah.
Now, one other question real quick. In India, culturally, you know, do you find that it's different? Meaning that, you know how in America there's so many different layers, like we just talked about the vendors? How is it there? You know, do they all agree on how we're going to do things? Or is it like, oh, we're not going to do this, or we're going to keep changing? How is that? Is it
They
consistent?
actually trust the teachers.
Oh, my God.
I know. But it's super old school. When I went and taught, actually, I got to tell you a quick story. First day, I get there, and it's an all-girls school in Kolkata,
Okay.
K through college. So they had like 4,000 students. And
4,000 students?
I'm not lying. And the first day, principal mom says, all right, you are going to join me on stage. Stage? What stage?
Right.
They have a big quad area. All 4,000 students are out there, and they're lined up by class. I mean, super close.
What grades?
K through college.
K through college?
I'm not lying
college,
here.
yeah.
It is a huge quad area.
Wow.
And every morning there's it's fascinating. Muslim call to prayer. There's a Hindu song. There's a nearer my God to thee. We shall overcome one day, maybe because I was there.
Okay.
But they celebrate all religions
that's
and all
awesome.
faith traditions, which is terrific. And then principal mom does her little thing, and then she introduces me. I'm going to be there teaching, and you know, if you have questions and blah 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 blah. And then she turns to me. She never told me this part. Mrs. Dunbar, would you like to say a few words, please? Why, yes, I would. You know, but looking at, it's very old school. One of the things I brought back with me, because writing is so important, they keep journals and write down their lessons and write down. It's almost like the Diary of a Wimpy Kid, where there's pictures and there's drawings and they're just fantastic. And the teachers take them home in the weekend and write notes back to them. And I thought, oh, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Because that builds up relationships
Absolutely.
too. And then it started when I started it, when I came back, kids were writing me little notes, and then it was talking to me about things they couldn't talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh.
So you're sharing ideas, you're learning as well. And so this is an incredible opportunity for cultural exchange. And
Well, when you teach, you learn.
yes, that's
what it's
amazing.
about.
By the way, RG, our amazing graphics person, he hooked us up with a couple of other graphics. I wanted to go over those. It is actually Native American Heritage Month, and so we've got a graphic for that. But there's RG right there. That's fun. One of my favorite pictures right there. But it is also, and I guess he liked the printer joke. So I'm glad you liked the printer joke. Keep the comments rolling in, by the way. Since this is live, we got comments. But National Native American and Alaskan Native Heritage Month. And so he makes sure we get the graphics right and everything. But it's also California Sikh American and Awareness Appreciation Month as well. So we appreciate having those on, and wonderful that we get to include those events also.
Absolutely. Love it.
Yes.
I'm
And
a diversity director. We have to have that.
yeah, there we go. And so we're going to go over here real quick to Tony G. Any piece of advice on parent engagement, family engagement? If you had to give one piece of advice, especially for new teachers, like what would it be? Like maybe explore these apps, try them out, give them a try.
Well, what she said. That's it. Just what she said. She said what I wanted to say. I mean, I'm thinking. She's saying it. I'm thinking it.
Right.
I lived it.
From your heart to her mouth.
Ditto to it all. She was saying what I was going to say too, by the way.
And I don't know if there's a. Well, there is. There is. Let's be honest. There is a psychology change of teachers' minds at the high school level versus the elementary level.
Absolutely.
There just is. Because I pal around with so many teachers, I'm around, and I just know when I'm around a bunch of elementary teachers, and then I know, and it's not to talk bad about high school teachers.
No comment.
I did it. Listen, I did it 15, in total 15 years almost, right?
Yeah.
And, I loved it. It's great. It's just different, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
And
it is.
Were you
I know that
elementary?
voice.
Were you
So-
elementary, by the way?
For a year.
Okay.
So it's very much more emotional connection. And here's the challenge that I guess I'd have to give it to the high school teachers is you got to understand especially if we're talking at the special ed level, we're talking about a bunch of kids that won't share their struggles, that won't share their issues. They won't communicate with you the way, you want. And then you have parents that, again, they have their own thing. And you say, well, that's out of my job description. It's out of my job description. Well, I found, because I taught in mental health, is like, I did. I only had, the caseload's not huge, but it's powerful, so to speak, in terms of, behaviors and things that call for a tremendous amount of IEPs, tremendous amount of work. And I found it to actually be more beneficial to get ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I got, Kofi over here, you got your son in my class who has these challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I could wait until things go awry before I start, Mr. Dr. K, can you get down here? You want to get ahead of the curve. You want to start talking and you want to get on the phone and talk. We lost our communication skills. We got hit by COVID, but also in general, I think as we've gotten to the cell phone era, which started out really cool because this would be more like, hey, wow, this is cool. I'm talking on the phone to my best friend, and because the landline's not it anymore, And then eventually it became the text, and then eventually it just kind of like, okay, technology is just everywhere.
Yeah.
So people get burnt out of communication. Well, guess what? Teachers can't get burnt out of communication.
Yeah.
That's your job. I mean, 90 minutes in a classroom with kids, and you want to sit in it. I'm not saying all, but you
High
can't.
school teacher, 90 minutes. How about all day with the same class?
Well, that's my game. Now I went into my job. You get torn bicep tendons at
Yes,
times,
you do.
but that I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world because I got so much growth in mental health awareness and understanding. But with all that said, it's all comes down to empathy.
Yeah.
Empathy. I say it again. I'll keep saying it. Empathy. If you show up with that instinctively as a teacher, you'll figure out what to do.
Yeah.
It's like a maternal instinct. When you said something earlier, I heard, what was that saying you said earlier? And you said you loved it just a bit ago.
You can't standardize education?
No, you were saying it just like the mother from Home Alone. I heard, Kevin.
Kevin.
It's the tone of your voice, right?
Oh, okay.
It's that the maternal,
Yeah,
and I remember that as a kid. We got to get back to connecting with parents and kids like that.
And thank you. We got comments coming in too, and so we appreciate Dr. Rob. He mentioned that we miss you, Dr. Rob. But he mentioned that connections are key, just as we were saying here. And the interesting thing is, when it comes to engagement, it's not, perfect attendance isn't, engagement. It's to be honest, it's about shared ownership of a student's success.
Right.
And when we come together, we got to remember that, it doesn't start at the gate. It starts at home, but it's a partnership. And we got to try to build those connections. And as Dr. Rogers wrote about and mentioned, we got to try to allow for a seat at that table, for both of us to have a seat at that table, educators and parents. And we know that here's another thing that research shows, the more involved parents are, the better outcomes for students.
What?
We got here, right? We got to move on to the next part.
Research now?
All right. So the next thing is a fun topic. I think this is a fun topic, but it's a topic being voluntold. We've all been voluntold, right? At some point in our
military.
Yes. So especially our newer teachers, our newer educators, oftentimes Volun-told, hey, we got this coach opening over here. And, oh, you've never coached this sport? Oh, you're going to be fine, right? We know how it goes. And so we're going to talk about something that, again, every teacher, every educator knows too well, that phrase, we need a volunteer. And sometimes it's just for a dance, a chaperone. Sometimes it might be, we need a timer for this or that duty. Or, it might be, coaching, but between teaching, grading, parent phone calls, data, meetings, everything else, it's no wonder that there are a lot of educators that say they feel, stretched a little bit thin. And so, here's the question, when does the dedication sort of cross the line into burnout? And, how can schools honor teachers' time while still keeping things running smoothly? Because that's the other thing, too. I mean, we got to keep things running smoothly. And so it is tough. I've been there as an administrator, having to ask for people to volunteer for different things. And I've also been on the other side of that, too, as a teacher in the classroom. So I want to start real quick with Tammy, and then we'll go around. You've been a teacher. You're one of those teachers we talked about. She gives over 110%, right? And so, what has made you sometimes realize that, you have to say no? Or were there ever those moments where you're like, okay, I got too much going on, I got to say no? And how did you do that?
You gain that wisdom as you gain experience.
Yeah.
Yep,
I was going to say age, but experience.
I like that one better.
Right, experience. You always want to give your very best. You always want to say yes. But if you spread yourself too thin, then there are just these little pieces of you all over the place.
Yeah.
So you've got to have the confidence, and that's another thing, being confident enough to go, no, that's not something I'm passionate about. So if you say no to the things you're not passionate about, there's more of you left to work on the things that you are passionate about,
absolutely.
right? So, it took me a while.
Yeah.
But, I said yes tonight.
Yes, that's right. You did.
Because this is an important podcast, and these are important conversations to have. So I said yes.
Oh, well, thank you. And you were incredibly busy. I mean, I think we were going to have you on the show before, and we talked, and I mean, you were literally delivering a keynote that same hours later.
I did. Yeah, and I was in New Mexico last week training librarians in Gallup, New Mexico on the use of Teams. And matter of fact, Microsoft, can I do this? I know it sounds like a plug and I'm a
No,
show, whatever.
go ahead.
Microsoft translates, through Teams, and Microsoft Translate into over 90 languages. Right. And they're trying to say the Dene language in Gallup. And so Microsoft added Dene into their translation, so they can actually send messages with parents in the Dene, which is fascinating.
Well, that's awesome too, because I mean, as an educator too, as a former administrator, I ran into those problems too, where we're doing calls home and we don't have the language that we need, or we have students that are English learners and we don't have in our software, we don't have the language that we need to help them, practice, and it's frustrating. So it's amazing every time we see when those new languages are added. So I appreciate you sharing that. And then we'll go over here to Dr. Rogers.
Okay.
So Dr. Rogers, you've been on both sides. You've been asked to volunteer, kind of like me, and then you've asked others to do that as well. So how can school leaders try to strike a fair balance when it comes to that responsibility and maybe sometimes over-reliance on some teachers? Sometimes there can be an over-reliance because we do have some of those teachers out there that they seem to volunteer for everything.
Everything, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think there's no perfect system.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's always going to be some sort of imbalance. But as a leader, understanding and knowing the culture of your staff and just the environment, and sometimes protecting them from themselves.
Yeah.
So that you do way too much. So I am not going to allow you to do more.
Yeah.
Because you see the effects. You understand that if I continue to ask or rely on this person to do it without allowing someone else to have the opportunity to, first, I'm not helping those people grow.
Yeah.
And then two, I am burning this person out, so when I really do need them, they're not going to be there like you just mentioned. So a good leader finds ways to give everyone the why of why we do it, building that culture so when something is given, the expectations are there. The communication is clear on why some people are going to have tasks that maybe they don't want to do, but give them the choice to do it. Say, hey, let's talk about our calendar in the beginning of the year, and each time something comes up, let's be open about our communication so there's no surprises. There's opportunity for people to say, yes, I would like to do it. But when you build a culture that people want to work, it's not a big deal. Yeah. I was at the campus years ago when I was a dean, and it was like Disneyland to me.
Wow.
You couldn't ask me to do, too much because everything they did, I wanted to be a part of. And what they did for me personally and professionally, I felt that I had an obligation to do for them. And it filled my cup. For example, coming here, I left San Francisco, drove down here, and I'm going to drive back to San Francisco, but I understood that being here with this company was important for me. It makes me feel good. So when you give people their why, and when you make people feel good about what they do, it's not a burden. It actually makes you feel better.
Yeah, well, that means a lot. And I love what you said, though, so important about sometimes trying to recognize when there are those educators out there that maybe they do volunteer for everything, and trying to recognize, we got to spread the love a little bit, give other people opportunities to train and grow. And then also sometimes we got to protect other people from burning out too.
Absolutely.
Protect them from themselves. That was a really good point.
Right.
Yeah.
It was, because, people want to do their best. Like Tammy was saying, they want to do their best.
Yeah.
But even doing their best, they can cause harm to themselves. And, we don't want that to happen to any of our leaders.
But have you found you have to differentiate sometimes, because there are people who are quiet as church mice, but they want to be asked.
Right. And so you give them the opportunity by, hey, nudging them, giving the proximity thing. Let me walk up next to you and give you a personal invitation to come over and do this. And like you said, and then they will do it. Again, clear instructions on what the expectations are. Giving people, say, you know what, this person is strong in this area. Let me go ahead and tap them on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Again, I was asked to come in and be a president-elect or whatever. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what that was. But again, I'm grateful for the opportunity. So if you give people the opportunity, they'll rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. And then we had a comment, let the runners run.
Let the runners run. I love that.
Yeah.
Let Dr. Rob.
I don't know. Someone, thank you for the comment.
Thank you for the comment.
Now, we're talking about sometimes there's those same educators that constantly raise their hand and volunteer. What is it that you think, causes us to sometimes do that, to those educators to keep raising their hand, but also any funny volunteer jobs that you've heard about out there where anybody's volunteered for anything?
Well, it's funny, you guys were talking about, teachers and they're being stretched, right? And you just gave me flashbacks to duties at the high school level. So see, here's another thing, because I feel like I kind of went a little too hard on the high school teachers earlier. And to just protect and defend them too, the duties at the high school level are on a different world.
Yeah.
I had to do security one year. Okay.
Wow.
And I'm a big guy, so guess what? I used to get it, put him in the one area where all the
chaos,
the dudes are ready to go. And so, and I wasn't alone, but at times I was alone. And it was absolutely, but luckily, being a stand-up, I could do a lot of like riffing with some of the kids, de-escalate, all that stuff. But I thought, oh man, you put someone green in here, you got to rumble.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this is the kind of thing, you got to think about. You got to have all that as an administrator. You got to look at the big picture. You have to see, am I burning my troops out? It is kind of like military. Like I don't want to burn, or let's go sports.
Yeah.
Popovich out of San Antonio for the, let's go NBA right now, right? How many championships did they win with the Spurs? Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and
Robinson.
Yeah. They had a ton, right?
So you guys both watch wrestling and basketball?
We should be the best friends. I'm jockeying in right now,
Well, we got to run here in a second. We're almost out of time, but go ahead.
Almost out of time. The thing is you have to know the mental health. Comes back to mental health. Know your teacher's mental health. See where they're at, what they're get to know them. Conversations. It'll spill down into the parents.
Yeah.
I think we got our next trivia game, friends.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do
Love
it.
That's our next trivia
Love
game.
it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Bring
it's
the
gonna
buzzer
be fun.
back. Bring the buzzer
Wrestling
back.
and,
We will.
and basketball.
Yes. There we go. It'll be a fun topic.
I'm college basketball now.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna do
lost
final.
it.
We're gonna do our final word. We have a tradition of doing a final word segment on this show, where our guests have an opportunity, and our senior education contributors to share a final closing message, and it could be words of wisdom, it could be advice, anything you want to share. Also, I think we ought to plug some of the things we got coming up too. You got some comedy, you got some great stuff coming up too, and anything else you want to share about what you might be working on. But any takers on who wants to go first?
I'll go first because I don't want to forget.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tammy said something earlier that made me think about my final word. You said that the students in India, they would write the little notes or the little pictures, and you would have that correspondence. Well, in this book, Change the Narrative, Don't Let the Narrative Change You, you can do the same thing. At the end of each chapter, through the stories I provide, then the students have an opportunity to give their lived experience, and then the adult, the educator, whoever, can read that and then give their take on it and then also correspond. Because now you have an understanding of what that student is thinking or going through and build that relationship and understanding. And you now tear down the wall, you get some insight, and now you can better prepare yourself to educate, differentiate instruction for that student. So pick up the book.
I
At a
love
store near you.
Amazon and
Amazon. Oh, Zulon Press, because again, Amazon takes 40%.
and by the way, if you happen to be at the conference in San Francisco
Yes.
for the Association of
Go
California
by the
School
bookstore.
Administrators,
The AXA bookstore is
it's there.
open and available, and it is there, along with some really great authors that's right along with me. So I'm not the only one. So there's Goldie Muhammad. You know, there's a lot of other. Victor Rios is going to be our keynote on Saturday. So please come on over and say hello to all of us because we would love to hear your voices. Again, leaders leading loudly. Again, show up, be there.
and I guess Dr. Rogers had a really good social media post too with the other authors, so that's amazing as well.
Okay, but my time is up. Okay.
Yeah, so definitely check out his book. Stop by, and if you see Dr. Rogers, say hi too.
Yes.
All right, Tony G, take us home.
All right. So November 8th at the Calabash was supposed to be this Saturday. It's been rescheduled. All right.
Darn it, I was looking forward to this weekend.
The problem is they found out, too many found out that I was on the show.
I know.
Oh,
So they're rebooking it to a bigger venue.
Nice,
And
nice.
so it's nice to feel wanted.
Yeah.
It sucks I can't perform on Saturday. But outside of that, I'm just kidding, guys, by the way. They double booked it on accident. It's not because of me. But I just thought that would be a nice fake brag.
where's it at, by the way?
It's going to be in Oakland, Comedy Oakland.
Okay.
They do an awesome production. It's not just at one location. It's all over. It's all over the Bay.
Wow.
And they really find just beautiful aesthetic places, restaurants, very nice little theaters. I've been doing a lot of stand-up in the open mics. They have some amazing little underground stage theaters and stuff, saloons, speakeasies. Like, it's really cool.
Wow.
So I'm just throwing it out there. If you guys ever, people out there, you're in the Bay, get out to a Comedy Oakland show, even if I'm not on it.
That's exciting. And great work there. And we see you on your social media more lately, too.
Yep, we're producing. We're putting content out. That's the name of the game. An old dog that's actually learning new tricks.
Nice.
Awesome. Very cool. Tammy, it has been such a pleasure. You want to do the final word?
I sure will. I just wondered if you all out there have noticed that when you greet your students at the door and you're happy to see them, have you noticed that they are more happy and more engaged in lessons? Kids don't learn from people they don't like, as Rita Pearson once said, right?
Yes.
So you need to model what you expect, and you need to celebrate successes and failures, because that's how we learn, is from the failures. Here in the Valley, we have a saying: the best fertilizer is the footsteps of the farmer.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Right?
You got to remember that.
No,
So
I like that.
we have to put in the work to cultivate a classroom of caring and culture, and to allow our students to blossom and grow where they are. So we need to be fearless. Embrace that fear. Try something new. If the speaker doesn't work, it's okay. Let the students see you struggling through it, and when they see that you solve the problem and work through it, they're going to know you're not afraid to learn, and they'll know they shouldn't be afraid to learn either.
Beautiful.
Wow. Yeah. Well said. Hey, it has been such a pleasure tonight with this amazing team and also with Tammy. We've been wanting to get you on the show, and we were so glad we did. And then how about a round of applause, too, for our team in the back, as always.
Yes.
Thank
The
you.
nucleus. That's in science. I taught it.
Thank you for getting our good sides.
And listen, whether you're a teacher, an educator, doesn't matter, a student, a parent, find an educator out there and let's give them some gratitude, show them some love, thank them, because we know it's not easy. We talked about being voluntold. We talked about parent engagement. We talked about some amazing things on the show tonight. And so we want to try to remember also, we have a lot of laughs, by the way, on this show. We try to keep it fun. We debate. We learn new things. But at the same time, we also want to remember one thing, that it's important to keep the heart of education, the heart in education. So that's what we try to do here. But again, huge thank you to our crew here at Studio 24, Dr. Rogers, Tony G, incredible Tammy Dunbar. And to all of you watching at home, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
For reals. Love you.
All right. Thank you for spending your Thursday with us. We really appreciate you, and have a good night. We'll see you next
See you
time.
later.
Take care. Bye-bye.